Ready, Mark? Let's do it right now. Play Plus, Flow Theory Part 5. Attuned Cueing, Guiding Flow and Tone. How temporal and affective precision enable cooperative play and performance. Attuned cueing is cueing that is attuned to the situation and task at hand, and it is critical to flow in the subjective tone. This attunement takes place in time and tone and requires awareness by the handler. Definitions. Attunement. The dynamic alignment of awareness, intention, and action between partners, enabling mutual responsiveness and fluid cooperation in real time. Attuned cueing. Delivering cues with precise timing, tone, and awareness, matched to the learner's state, to invite action without disruption, enabling seamless coupling and flow. Subjective tone. The dog's physical and emotional state, an affective quality that characterizes an experience, shaping how perception and action are felt and expressed. It governs the organism's manner of engagement with the environment, influencing sensitivity, tempo, and expression of action. Perspective control. The regulation of action through perceptual information that specifies what will happen next, allowing movement to be guided towards future relevant outcomes rather than reactions to current or past conditions. Variables like time to contact, tau, and optical flow specify unfolding events directly, enabling interception, avoidance, and coordination without prediction or computation. Anticipation. The organism's ability to coordinate action with future relevant information specified in the environment, emerging from perception-action coupling rather than internal prediction. It reflects the skillful readiness to act in time with unfolding affordances. Guys, chill. So those definitions, super important, right? They're ecological approach, ecological psychology definitions for the most part. The first two are Play Plus definitions. But they're a little bit different than how we kind of think of them all the time. So keep that in mind. We're going to talk about them throughout the rest of the piece. Hey guys, murk. No murking. Chill. All right, so let's move on. Ready? Let's go. Sorry, cupcake. Cue, trigger, controlled flow. Play Plus uses a dipolar process to cue and trigger skills. The cue tells the dog what we're going to do, and the trigger makes it happen. We put a pause in the middle, 1 to 3 seconds, aka aporia, which affords attunement to the task at hand and shapes the desired intensity level and throttles flow. This is no different than the verbal physical rules or cues. Try that again, right, Merc? This is no different than the verbal physical rules on cues. But it's more than just a rule. It's a process that dog and handler both know and understand. If you've gotten to a high enough level in dog sports or obedience, you probably have had to proof a cue. Or maybe you've seen somebody who has had to make sure that the dog doesn't leave before the verbal cue is finished. Or to keep the dog from choosing the wrong skill that starts with the same sound. The trigger in this case is the finish of the word. Get on. This trigger process is foundational flow structure. It ensures that dog and handler know what's happening before the action happens, crafting a response, not a reaction. In addition to keeping the dog honest and informed, this process creates expectancy to do the thing, while the time between the cue and trigger affords the handler the ability to shape the desired energy level and guarantee that the dog performs the skill with precise timing and intent. Without this process, performing cooperative skills with split-second timing is all but impossible. This is super important for Frisbee work. We're in the game, like in the moment. When we do a vault, the dog can't start early. If the dog starts early, all of a sudden the handler has to chase the dog and like hit a bullet with the disc. Cue trigger process is a big deal. And that idea that it affords the dog the opportunity to see what's coming in the future and to attune their awareness to what's coming is really nice. It's super effective training. Let's go back to the piece. Attuning the cue. How you give the cue matters. A cue should always be attuned to the situation. If the cue is given in a manner that does not fit with the situation, or if it is at odds with the dog or team's subjective tone, other parts of the game may suffer. The cue needs to be given at the right time, with the right intensity and tone. When this happens, the dog and team's subjective tone is positive, engagement is likely, and initiative transfers are more likely to be smooth and efficient. An attuned cue draws attention and fosters awareness in the dog for the cue and trigger. The dog knows what to look for and wants to find it. This forward-leaning stance bolsters engagement and builds confidence, and makes it easy for the dog to follow the handler and play the game. Enhanced awareness and perspective control. Attuned cueing enhances awareness and facilitates perspective control. When the cues resonate, cues become important moments of the game, so the dog looks for them. Perspective control regulates action by using current perceptual information, specifying information, to stay ahead of unfolding events, allowing movement to be guided in real time towards future relevant outcomes. If the dog is looking for cues and values them, they follow along and anticipate, which affords perspective control. Play Plus uses an ecological definition of anticipation. Anticipation is the coordination of action with future relevant information specified in the environment, emerging from perception and action coupling rather than internal prediction. Very important. It reflects the skillful readiness to act in time with unfolding affordances. So anticipation literally means to take before or to seize ahead of time. It originally referred to mentally grasping or acting upon something before it fully happens or arrives. Coupling with an affordance before its full expression has emerged, by skillfully seizing structured information early, is made possible through anticipation. Hey guys, that'll do. Get off. Get off. Get off. Thank you. Attuned cueing helps the dog anticipate the action. This is the key to perspective control, and it is through cultivating awareness which harnesses and controls attention. Let me try that again. Attuned cueing helps the dog anticipate the action. This is the key to perspective control, and it is through cultivating awareness, which harnesses and controls attention, that this ability is unlocked for dog and handler. This idea of perspective control and awareness is critical for actually doing the thing with your dog, right? Telling the dog to do the cue and the dog does it on their own time. It works for the trick in the living room, but as soon as your friends and neighbors come by, it's not going to work. This enhanced awareness and perspective control is what allows us the ability to do these things in public on the fly, to build skills rather than to simply do behaviors. Skills are actions that are adapted on the fly to fit the environment, to fit the situation, to fit the task at hand. Behaviors are, they're decoupled. They're not attached to anything, and they have to be generalized. We don't generalize in Play Plus. We adapt our actions to skills. All right, so let's move on. Attuned cueing via the perspective marker. The perspective marker, marking moments of coupling with a cue, is a key aspect of attuned cueing. This is where timing matters and makes magic happen. When the cue is given as an inceptive marker for the previous behavior, then the dog finishes the skill to afford smooth entry into the next action. This is the definition of perspective control. Attuning markers in general. Markers also have to be attuned. If you're working fast and furious, the marker needs to pop. Yes, good man. If you're working easy and smooth, it's an easy yes, spoken conversationally. Matching the tone of your markers is critical to flow maintenance in the subjective tone. The perspective marker is, a lot of people use it off marking with the cue. The difference in Play Plus would be we give that at a moment of coupling. The inceptive marker is a marker in flow. It brings out the moment of coupling. It draws attention to it. So we can isolate and draw attention for dog and handler to the exact moment that something changes. So when I tell my dog around and I give them the cue, the moment they break and they couple with the cue, I can mark that. That's an inceptive marker. The moment they pass my body from front to back, there's a coupling shift that happens there. The center line of my body from this side of my body to this side of my body, I can mark that. The dog comes around my knee pit as they're coming around the around, I can mark that. They're going from the back of me back to the front of me. When the dog comes around and looks up, picks up eye contact on me, I can mark that. I can mark when they look at the disc that's going to be the trigger. If I were to sit around, the dog looks at me, yes, boom, right? That's an inceptive marker. If the dog, yes, catch, boom, or catch, boom, when the dog looks at me, that's a perspective marker. So we want to attune those to the task at hand, to the dog's desired energy level, and to, dude, guys, off, to the desired energy level and to the task at hand. So go do dog stuff. It's hard to find videos that clearly illustrate this. It's even harder to explain it in text. You're just going to have to take the above and absorb it and run with it. Make sure that your cues, triggers, and markers fit the emotional and physical tone of your dog and of the current situation or the situation you desire. This attuned cueing is a big piece of effective attunement, which is a big piece of working and playing together. Join my classes by becoming a patron of Positive Vibe, or join the Substack here. It's embarrassingly cheap. Stay tuned. This place is going to drop some serious content for freebie, even for freebie friends. So subscribe in order to keep up with the happenings and opportunities to play. Peace and happy jamming. Have a good one.